Dean Veloso, INSEAD faculty, friends, it's a dangerous thing to be the fourth speaker and the last bastion before you get a diploma. I remember, so I'll do my best to be quick. Feel free to fall asleep. Tomorrow you will become like me, fellow alumni. I won't take any offense. Good afternoon. To the graduates seated before me, my deepest congratulations to you and your families for succeeding in the arduous, exhausting, mind-numbing personal journey that is the EMBA. I still remember, it must be PTSD of a positive kind. 20 years ago, you still feel, my God, it was tiring. So 20 years ago, I sat where you were seated. I was part of the second EMBA class. Back then, there was no Abu Dhabi campus. There was no EMBA. There wasn't even an iPhone. Can you imagine a world without the iPhone? How old am I? So INSEAD, I think, we're trying to answer the existential question for the more mature students. Was there value in attempting to educate the older? They politely called us mature, but they meant older, right? Students, were we teachable or had we fossilized? Doomed to remain stuck in the industrial age, using abacus and pocket calculator in a world of ever-growing technological wizardry. So when I first entered the MPhil at Fonte, I met my fellow classmates. We didn't know the answer to this existential question. Something must have happened after our cohort, in spite of our cohort, because here you are, 3 times the size. I was then 40 years of age, 2 young and beautiful children in tow, happily settled into a managerial level job at a large hospital system here in Singapore. Why take this step into the unknown? And I know I'm getting resonance, right? Why go through the pain of taking the GMAT? Do you still have to take the GMAT? Yeah, I'm sure you loved it. I did not. Which was then compulsory. I was told politely, truly, with all kindness, that, you know, Fidah, don't worry about the score, because data suggests that we older EMBA folks would have scores about 50 points lower than the younger MBA lot, which wasn't exactly a confidence builder. But there you are, okay? So why did I embark on the EMBA, or the INSEAD EMBA? Because then I needed to grow. I needed to learn new skill sets that I was never formally trained in. You see, I had studied and practiced medicine for many years. And my previous training and experience in clinical medicine just taught me to do everything I can for that one patient in front of me. Suddenly, I had to do the most for the most number of patients with very finite resources, and I was not trained for that. So I thought the MBA was the most efficient path to get me that learning. But why the EMBA? Well, 2 reasons. One, my employer was unwilling to allow me to study on a full-time basis. Any nods there, you know, enlightened managers? They said, if we could manage you without you for 1 or 2 years, why would we need you after you're done? Very persuasive argument. So I had to do an MBA whilst holding a full-time job without any discount on work deliverables. And looking at the eye bags, very fashionable looking eye bags, but eye bags nonetheless in front of me. I was clearly, it still happens today. So the full-time MBA program wasn't on the cards for me. In any case, when I met the INSEAD recruitment team at that point of time, they rather politely told me that I would find the interactions with the younger full-time MBA students to be less intellectually stimulating than with the mature specimens in the EMBA class. In other words, I was old, I should hang out with the older crowd. And so there I was, EMBA class, 56 students, 28 countries, the most diverse class I have ever attended in my entire life, even till today. I was taught by exacting, inspiring professors. Some I've had the privilege to now call as friends, forced to stretch my mind to think expansively yet meticulously, delve into the world of organizations, finance, operations, strategy. I learned how people interacted with each other in systems. I plumbed my internal depths to better understand who I was, with my strengths and, more importantly, my many flaws, and learned how to harness all of that, all that I was, as a leader, and even more as a person. And we learned together. Delightful debates with professors and classmates, worldviews expanding, a growing appreciation of different cultures, different norms, in the amphis, at the bar, over lunch, over dinner, and through each other. We discovered how the same concepts meant quite different things in different cultures. How, for example, capitalism has very different faces in the US, in Europe, in Asia, in China. And what I found in a global world and society, understanding that we are different, but yet being able to appreciate the differences, and more importantly, the fundamental similarities, attuned us to more adroitly navigate the world after graduation. And INSEAD was right. I did find the exchanges with my fellow classmates, the richness of their diverse years of experience and perspectives, to be so deeply enriching and fulfilling. In fact, my classmates and I, probably one of the biggest, busiest WhatsApp chat groups are with these fossilized dinosaurs along with me. They're still texting all the time, usually about where to drink. Good to know things remain the same. But INSEAD faculty, thank you for your wise counsel to me all those years ago. The INSEAD MBA was absolutely the right choice. So then, 2005, I was where you are. I completed my EMBA, and clutching my diploma in hand while gazing at the Eiffel Tower, lit up against the late autumn night, I realized one important thing. INSEAD had quite royally screwed up all my presuppositions about life and what I wanted to do. I went to learn how to be a better hospital manager. And then one summer, I had an epiphany. I realized I don't want to do this managerial gig. I wanted to create the maximum value I could in healthcare. Real value, way beyond financial returns. To bring impact to patients by catalyzing meaningful and great IP into products and services that just would matter. Or by building out new healthcare systems that were disruptive, that could better meet the needs of patients. So, as we say in Singapore then, so how? Well, I returned to my hospital system, realizing that as I returned, I needed to leave. Spoiler alert, INSEAD can, often does make us change life courses dramatically. And I would bet a significant minority of you, even before I mention any of this, will be thinking about that. Go on that personal journey, find out. I did make that jump. 2 years ago, I jumped into the world of venture capital as a partner. And then God smiled at me. Temasek, one of Singapore's sovereign wealth funds, decided they wanted to expand into healthcare and life sciences. They were looking for someone who maybe had a medical degree and, even better, have a reputable business degree. Ta-da! So, thank you, INSEAD, for giving me my job where I've been at for the last 17 years. 17 years ago, I joined. Since then, I've worked through the GFC, expanded my reach globally, beyond Singapore, into China, India, the US, and Europe, all the while building out a global team that scoured the world for healthcare breakthroughs and promising new platforms. And through that period, disruptive technologies like cell therapy, gene editing emerged and flourished. AI began to transform healthcare. The plethora of diagnostics, smart devices, massively powerful computing ushered us into the possibilities of attaining true precision medicine. We even dared to hope that true healthcare rather than sick care might be attained eventually. We lived through the horrors of COVID-19, but we witnessed the power of the nucleic acid therapies to rapidly create novel vaccines that broke the back of the pandemic. These last 17 years, when I took the plunge, has been the ride of my life. Scary, but simply exhilarating. It has also been deeply sobering. I would be very surprised if this would not be the topic of many a tea break among yourselves. That the world has changed drastically. When in 2005 we celebrated the emergence of the global supply chain, we looked forward to enlightened capitalism, globally oriented societies welcoming of new talents and ideas. Then the rise of China represented opportunity, both within China and outside of China. Much has changed since those halcyon days. Today, just in time has been supplanted by just in case. We speak of regional self-sufficiencies. Geopolitics dominates the worldview and shapes economics. We have bifurcations, tussles for technological supremacies. Societies are more polarized than I've ever known in my 60 years of life. Geopolitics, we've always had them, ebbs and flows. What is ominously new is the introduction of new technologies that can and that do disrupt society as we know it, and at a pace never before experienced. Gene manipulation, smart robotics, drone technology, Gen AI, and more, all with the power for good and for harm, and all capable of reshaping social systems, employment, security. I'm not presuming to judge whether the changes are good or bad. That would be a gross oversimplification. But I do say that the world has changed. And much of the knowledge I learned from my INSEAD EMBA is now obsolete. So while I was writing this speech, you know, I gave myself a pat on the back. I did not use ChatGPT to write this horrible speech. It's all on me, yes. So, was my personal investment, thank you. Thank you. Was my personal investment in the EMBA in 2004, was it a failed one? No, it was not. I found that my EMBA experience accomplished far more than the acquisition of knowledge. I gained tools to future gaze, to chart different courses, to dissect possible problems, glean potential opportunities. I realized I could stretch my mind and truly and deeply learn to learn. I could rewire my brain and reimagine myself. The EMBA had changed my learning DNA. You know, it was educational epigenetics of the most wondrous kind. In other words, what was most valuable from my INSEAD MBA was not the result of my learning, but rather the process of learning and relearning, and of personal invention and reinvention and reinvention and reinvention again. And I was not alone. I had my classmates who 20 years later, we're still closely in touch. And I have the entire INSEAD community, both alumni, and we're all new alumni. This yellow or gold is the color alumni wear. And of course, the INSEAD faculty. So, while the volatility of society and business can at times seem overwhelming and daunting, I have a modicum of confidence that we can weather the change. We can reinvent ourselves, and we will thrive. The world continues to change and change rapidly. Our knowledge gleaned will end up obsolete, but our ability to learn, to evolve, and to metamorphosize will never become stale. And that is INSEAD's greatest gift to all of us. So, to the graduates seated before me, my deepest congratulations for succeeding in the energizing, the exhilarating, the mind-expanding personal journey that is the TIEMBA and the GEMBA. May your journey of self-growth continue on and on and on. And may you deeply impact the world with what you accomplish in the years to come. We, your fellow alumni, will be cheering you every step of the way. I wish you every success, and I look forward to celebrating the impact that you will undoubtedly make in your careers and your lives. Shine brightly. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Fidah, for sharing your advice to our EMBA'25s and EMBA'24s.